I got to figure the majority of the guys in here are parents, in your journey, that discipline was a lot tougher than you thought. And those of you still dealing with grandkids, your own kids, you feel guilty sometimes. You wonder, you're too tough. Maybe you're expecting too much. Standards too high, that's what your wife tells you. No, back off, ease up. Gentlemen, I'll give you a simple reason for disciplining your children. Besides establishing morals and character, you don't want somebody else to do it. The world hurts. The world doesn't give mitigating circumstances. The world isn't going to say, you are just so cranky. Now, did you get a nap today? You go home. You rest up. I'll cover till you come back. Some judge, let me see if I got this right. You're the middle child. You have identity problems. And you're left-handed. Did you tell that to the prosecutor? We'll throw the case out. Now, gentlemen, I've been shrinking for over 30 years. I used to be like 6'9". In the time I've been doing this, I've watched discipline become a bad word. The authority that so much marks a strong, faithful man is under assault by the shrinks. Think about it a second. Authority. Limits. Control. Ooh. They just got a negative psychological tinge to them, don't they? I mean, can't we use active listening instead of passive listening? I messages instead of you messages? Set up win-win scenarios? A blue banana sticker system instead of a red grape sticker system? I tell folks, discipline without love may be harsh. Love without discipline is child abuse. The kid is being set up. He will be disciplined by those people out there, and he will be hurt. There's an interesting phenomenon that occurs in my office. A parent will come in and describe a litany of trouble about this long. Then she'll say this. You know, I think I'm giving you the wrong impression. Overall, he's a pretty good kid. How's that? Well, he's not on drugs or anything like that. Gentlemen, one of the new moral high bars out there. He's not on drugs or anything like that. I ask my clients, what do you want looking back at you at age 22? What do you want to say about that kid? If you're content to say, well, hey, given the way kids are turning out nowadays, I'm counting my blessings. Parole officer says one of the nicest kids he has. I tell my clients, don't parent that hard. You don't have to. You'll probably raise a kid not on drugs. But then I ask him, you want to raise a kid that you can look at age 22 or 25 or 30 or 35 and say, I'm not real objective. I am the boy's dad. But he's 1 in 100. Morals, character, compassion, seeks God. That's a beautiful human being. And I always tell my clients, you want to raise the odds of having a kid like that, then you can't be like them out there anymore. They'll take you places you don't want to go. They supervise here, they think they're strict. And you won't be understood, you know that? A lot of you guys had to battle relatives and friends and your social circle for thinking that you were too strict. Your standards were too high. And then, one day, you heard this. You know you got great kids. And then you don't get credit for it. You're lucky. You got great kids. You got Chastity and Angelica. I didn't get good kids. I got Chucky, Damien, Cujo, and Lucifer. Now, man, a lot of you fellows were talking to me out there. I was a little preoccupied. Bishop, last night it was awful. I was really preoccupied last night. I can explain now. My wife and I have been getting in these little tiffs. Every time we do, she brings up the same theme. Ray, would you please get out of the 70s? Gentlemen, I told the ladies, us guys, all you have to do is tell us to do something one time. We do it. Well, I tell you, that doesn't get a reaction in here, but you do that at a women's conference, they'll lynch you on the spot. I told my wife, I said, honey, you tell me to do something, I'll do it. You don't have to keep reminding me every 6 or 8 months. I didn't want to hear this get out of the 70s stuff. So our anniversary was coming up. I was going to go get her a gift by myself. I'm not going to bring any of my daughters to help me. I got 5 boys and 5 estrogen Americans. I'm not bringing any of the girls to help me. You know, my girls know their mother up one side, down the other. My boys don't even know they got a mother half the time. You know, the average 5-year-old girl walks up to her mother. Excuse me, mother. While I do appreciate the guidance you've given me these first few years, I do feel compelled to tell you you were wrong on most of it. Why don't you raise Dad? He's got about 10 or 12 more years of middle school to go through. The average 16-year-old boy is still doing this. Ma, where's the ice cubes? No, I asked Dad. He don't know where they are either. My daughter Liz is 13. She's been able to run the whole family for the last 4 years. My son Sam's 20, still giving his brother wedgies. You know, these are not the same species. I didn't want to hear this get out of the 70s stuff. Our anniversary was coming up. I'm going to shut it down. So I went out, and I got her one of those mood rings. See, that's kind of how she reacted, sort of like that. All right, man, laugh. Those things work. They do. She's in a good mood, turns green. In a bad mood, leaves a red mark on my forehead. There is a reality about the shrinks that you have to keep in mind. The shrinks are not on your side. The vast majority of shrinks are secular, which means they don't look at this whole thing about God and morals and infinite truth like you do. Do a little test. Go to the computer. Type in child, self-esteem, search. Hundreds of thousands of options. Why? Because the shrinks believe that self-esteem is the preeminent moral virtue. Type in child, humility, search. When's the last time you heard a secular expert talk about teaching a child humility? About placing others before yourself, esteeming others more highly than your own self? Can you imagine Christ gone up to the apostles? Hey, you, Simon. There for a while, I toyed with changing your name to Peter. But I decided against it because I was a little nervous about what that would do to your self-esteem, okay? I mean, you've pretty much gotten used to yourself as a Simon, you know, into adulthood. Now I go changing your name. There could be self-image ramifications. However, I've talked to my father, and I believe that you have a future in this operation. If you can conceive it, you can believe it. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. 12 more weeks of Tony Robbins management courses, Simon, and I think you'll be able to lead us. Probably not. Hey, Bishop,